So, I'm not sure if you've seen my last video with me talking about why trains are still important, because I'm not sure if I'm going to upload it. If I do decide not to upload a video, it's because the quality of that video was not up to my liking. It may have still been about a good topic, and if it is, I will reshoot it later and upload it, which I have done a couple of times. The weather, if you had seen the intro to that video, you know how amazing the weather is today. All of the windows are down in the truck, including this back one, and the reason why trucks have one back there is because you open it. I know in Toyota trucks the whole back window can go down sometimes, and that feels really good with the air rushing through the truck like that. And I have to do this when I am sitting still, because if I idle too long with the AC on in my truck, it will overheat. Doesn't do that as much as it used to because I've had the thermostat replaced, but it still does happen. And today I'm going to talk about the weather. So as you all know, I live in central Pennsylvania. People think of central Pennsylvania as being a really cold place. It is. They also don't think of it being a super cold place, but it can get super cold here. They don't think of it as being hot here. It gets hot here. In the summer, it can get above 100 degrees a couple times. Airplane. Airplane that I cannot see. I like to watch airplanes. It's really cool in my opinion. Now, it can get above triple digits in the summer a couple times, and most of the time it is just hot and humid and quite miserable. I've found in my experience a lot of people here are quite ignorant to how the weather is in other places. I have a lot of family who live in Texas, and I think Texas is an awesome place. There's a lot of cool stuff there, including the Dallas Cowboys, whom I'm a big fan of. And people around here, when I tell them that Texas is awesome, they turn into that Easter Island head from Night of the Museum, in my opinion. Oh, I like Texas. It's hot there. Yeah, but it's hot there. It's a nice dry heat though. The weather's pretty good. It's hot there. Yeah, but there's other stuff that kind of makes it worth it beyond the heat. It's hot there. But here's my story on that. My parents got married in Washington, D.C. in the mid-90s. The mid-90s referring to the year and also the temperature. And it was also really humid that day. And all of the family I have in Texas came to their wedding. And everyone there was really hot. The weather in D.C. is not that much different from how it is here. Many of these same people came to my wedding in Central PA in 2019, when it was also really hot. And it was too hot for most of them here too. They had problems with the heat. It's not like they showed up and went, oh, this is just a spring afternoon. It's fine. No, it was really hot for them. Now, I also have heard from a lot of people that they think it's better to be outside when it's super cold rather than super hot. Their logic being, oh, you can always dress in layers and you can take a layer off and put another one on as it gets cold. But if it's hot, you can't take off your skin as another layer. Yes, people have really said that. I am an Eagle Scout. I have been camping in many different kinds of weather. Everything from below 0 to above 110. The campouts where it was above 110 went better than the ones where it was below 0. Also, as a side note, you may notice that far more people live in places where it's hot than where it's cold. Like, think about the population of Alaska compared to, let's say, Morocco or other Middle Eastern countries outside of that area where it's really hot. It's a big difference. It's because your body is better adapted to survive where it's hot out. Now, we would frequently be out camping and hiking and such, and it would be really cold at the beginning of the day, and then it would warm up and we'd be doing activities and get hot. The problem is, what are you gonna do with those layers that you now have to take off? Your campsite might be a couple miles down the trail. You only have a small backpack. You can't take your coat off and stuff it in there. You can tie it around yourself, but sometimes that can get awkward and it's really hard. And then you still sweat under all those layers when you're moving around. Somebody online once told me, "What? You sweat when it's hot, not when it's cold." This guy is stupid. Yes, I'm aware that you sweat more when it's hot out, but if it's cold out and you have 2 layers of pants, a heavy winter jacket, 2 sweatshirts, and thermal underwear, and it gets warmer than it was before, you're still going to sweat. And that can soak through your clothes, and it's sometimes not easy to change your clothes all the way if you have that many. So it's going to be pretty miserable. And I've often found people are quite ignorant about that fact. In Central PA, we have tornadoes. We get them a couple times every summer. We also have hurricanes. They hit here about every other year or so. And it floods here every time they do really bad. My uncle lives down in Florida, and he said when there's a hurricane, pretty much it just blows through and then it's done. It doesn't flood as bad there. We've also had an earthquake in 2011 when the one hit Virginia. It hit up here. We even had a nuclear meltdown at the place a few miles behind me in 1979. So Pennsylvania's had just about every kind of disaster you can think of. People are afraid to go to Texas or other places because of tornadoes. My mom grew up in Texas, and the worst tornado damage she's ever seen is here in central Pennsylvania. We had a tornado come through our neighborhood in 2009, which thankfully didn't damage our house too bad. It did damage a couple other houses in the neighborhood. And some people are afraid to go to Florida because of hurricanes. When I was in elementary school, somebody was making fun of me once, and they didn't like me, and they said, "I'm gonna make you move to Florida, and you're gonna get swept away in a hurricane." If Florida was that bad with hurricanes, why would anyone live there? But anyway, the point is, there's a lot of weather events that happen here, and people here don't seem to be really well able to respond to them. I said earlier, people think of central Pennsylvania and they think about cold weather. It does get cold here. It does snow here. We get a couple really good snows every winter for the most part. Some winters we go without more than a dusting or so. And everyone in my neighborhood, in my neck of the woods, they post all year long online. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait for there to be snow. It's a magical winter wonderland." And they'll post the pictures of like a park with snow on all the trees, or of like ice sculptures and stuff. Then the weatherman one day will say, "There's a slight possibility we might get a slight amount of snow." And then it's the panic button. Do you guys remember March 2020 when everyone went berserk and bought out the stores? And people are still today acting like there's no toilet paper in the store? Let me tell you something. That happens about twice a year in central PA. They'll say snow, people go berserk and try to buy up all the milk and bread they can, because I guess they're sitting at home making milk sandwiches to eat during the snow. It's not the apocalypse. You can just make sure you have enough stuff, and then you'll be okay for like a few hours that you can't get out of your house to go to the grocery store or order pizza or whatever. And they track every snowstorm like it's kind of like how people in other places do when there's a bad hurricane coming. They'll post updates every couple minutes going, "The snowstorm has moved a little bit closer. It's gotten a little bit more intense. We all need to panic now." And my family is no exception to this rule. Like, it used to aggravate me to no end when I was growing up, and it would be about to snow, and then we'd have the radio on in the car or something, and we'd be like, yeah, yeah. And now the weather. Shh, shh, be quiet, they're gonna talk about the snow! Okay. They said something about the snow. Yeah, we know it's gonna snow. But he just said that it's going to snow again. And this isn't exclusive to just my family. This is like everyone in my neck of the woods acts like this. I don't know if people act like this in other places, but that's how they act here. And now, one thing I noticed is that down south, it's been snowing more lately. And everyone's like, oh, down south it's a lot worse when it snows because they don't have the equipment and stuff to plow out the roads. Yeah, but it's been snowing like a couple times a year there lately. Maybe it's time to invest in some snow removal stuff and stop acting like you guys don't know what snow is. But we do have a lot of the days of the year when the weather's like this. And those are the nice days. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Maybe this will be the first installment in my stand-up comedy plan.